Hey everybody, Steve Andrews here with KnifeKits.com. Today we are building the GL66 locking liner kit. As far as tools go for this, the only thing you're going to need is a T7 and T9 Torx driver. Other than that, it comes with everything that you need to assemble it. You can see the blade, liners, bolsters, back spine, handles, and of course all the hardware. Now we're laying everything out neatly in some trays here so that we're nice and organized with our various length screws, things like that, and then our liners and our bolsters, our handles and everything. If you don't have these kind of trays, that's cool. You can always use the top of the box. Now we're on the non-locking side of the liner, and as you can see here, one side those holes are flush and the other side they're countersunk. The countersunk side is the outside of the liner. So we are going to take our longer screws and we're going to drop those into the three holes. These are longer, and they're the ones that are going to fit in those holes as well. They're a little bit bigger. These will eventually screw into the liner on the other side. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lay this down and we're going to put a piece of tape over it, and that is just for now to keep those screws from falling back out while we do our next step. Of course, there are many ways that you can decide that you want to put this together. This is just one of the ways that we found that is very easy. We're also going to go over some things that everybody doesn't necessarily always think about. So there we go. We just lay our back spine in there. But we're going to be going ahead and putting Loctite. In many of our videos you hear us talk about Loctite, but we don't actually put it on. We just explain to you to do it. So we're going to show you some ways to do it here. Okay, now we're dropping our pivot in on that side. Put our tape back down. It's just covering just enough to keep that pivot from falling out. Okay, now on our blade, it does have a thumb stud. Kind of hard to see here in the picture, but you'll be able to tell on both sides when you do it. Is same thing. This has a countersunk hole, so you want to make sure on that side, that's the side that we put the screw in. Now we're using Loctite 242 here. You can use Vibrotite. There are probably many brands that you can use of thread lockers. In this particular one, you don't want your thumb stud back and back out. So these are teeny tiny screws, right? So some people put the thread locker on the screw. In this case, we're just using a tiny screwdriver to put the thread locker right inside of the thumb stud. And it's because that screw is so tiny, if you put thread locker on it and then you try and pick it up and drop it in there, you're probably going to wipe the thread locker off all over your hands. So as I said, we drop that in the countersunk side, and now we are going to screw our thumb stud right onto it. Be careful when you do this. This is a precision screw, so see how easily that thumb stud goes on there? Make sure it goes on that easily. And then when you snug it down, we're literally just finger tightening. It doesn't take a lot. Again, small screws, that makes them easier to strip. If you're having to force that thumb stud on there, it means you're cross-threading it. It's time to stop and try again. Okay, here we're just using a little bit of lubricant around that pivot area before we put the washer on. Not necessary. You can do it without lubricant if you want. If you've got a little bit, that's fine as well. And it doesn't take much. You don't want it slinging everywhere. All right, now we're setting our blade on there. And then same thing. We're going to put a little lubricant there. Again, totally optional. Put our washer on that side and then the other lubricant. Or more lubricant, sorry. Again, not necessary. Now we're putting the locking side of our liner on there, and then we're going to put the screw that goes into the pivot. And we're going to snug that down. Now remember what I told you before about that blue tape. Now we can pull the blue tape down and we can start tightening those screws because now they're going to screw right into the other liner. Again, we are not torquing these down. You want to just go finger tight. And they should go in very smoothly. So now we're going to check to make sure that our blade is centered and feels smooth. And then you'll be able to tell which bolster goes on which side. The easiest way to see is because of where that lock bar is going to be. It's going to have where you can get your thumb in there for that lock bar. And these are smaller screws. So again, very gentle, does not take a lot to tighten them down. Then we'll put our carbon fiber handle material on there. This particular one that we're building is the carbon fiber model. However, if you are interested, it is also available with the reconstituted Abalone scales, which are nice as well if you want the more, I guess I could say, upscale look as opposed to the tactical look maybe. I think they both look great. That Abalone just, it's got a prettier look, and this has more of a utilitarian tactical look. All right, now before we put the bolster on the other side, we do want to put our blade stop pin into the blade. So we're just going to loosen it, or move the blade a little bit just so that we can drop that down in there. This isn't screwed in or anything like that. This is just going to sit right in there, and then once we put the bolster on, it won't be able to go anywhere. So make sure it drops all the way down in there. You can see it'll move nice and smooth right there. This is another spot where if you wanted to drop just a little drop of lubricant, you could. It really doesn't take much, and it'll work fine without it. And then this is going to be a rinse and repeat of the other side. We're just going to drop that in and gently tighten it up. This is a pretty simple build all in all. You know, if you really want to do some things to dress it up, or you just want more of a challenge, you could always engrave the bolsters. You could do file work on the back spine or on the back of the blade. You could make your own handle material for it using our handles as a template. You can make your own handle material if you chose. There are lots of options here to really dress this up and make it your own. Again, just as it is here, this is a great little pocket carry. We also offer clips if you wanted to tap it for clips, and you could put one of our numerous pocket clips on it for tip up or tip down carry. But as you can see, just as it comes out of the box, this just makes a perfect knife. Beautiful little carry knife, fits nicely in the pocket. Blade's long enough to be useful, but not too long to get you into any trouble. And it opens and closes smooth as butter.